Now, we got to get into this whole Katie Porter situation. Now, I want to preface to say this. When it comes to politics, I don't care about them. I don't care. I don't care about one side or the other more than either one. And the reason why is this. Because I think that we absolutely need balance because we have radicalized each other on both sides. And some people say, well, if you don't make a stand, then you're just as bad as somebody. Like, you have to make a decision. Oh, I absolutely make decisions. I'm a very effective decision maker. And that is absolutely the case of what I'm doing here. So I don't have to stand with Republicans 100%. I don't have to stand with Democrats 100%. I think they both do certain things that are good. Here's the problem, though. When one does something that's good, right? Democrats do something that's good. Republicans do something that's good for the people, for all of us that they feel like are below them, right? No, that's what they feel. And they treat us like that. We're in a government shutdown right now, if nobody has noticed. Well, some people have because they're being furloughed, laid off, and not paid. Now, they could come up with a resolution, but one side is saying that the Democrats want to fund illegal migrants' health care. Then the other side is saying that the other side, the big, beautiful bill, they call it, some call it the big, ugly bill. They're saying that those people are trying to help billionaires. They don't care about the small people. So now we have a stalemate. Any chess players understand what a stalemate is. Or we have somebody that, you know, the Monopoly player that when you play Monopoly, you got the one guy that never wants to sell his property. He never wants to make a deal, so the game just drags on forever and ever. We could do a whole Monopoly analogy. I like Monopoly. It taught me a lot as a youth going into life of the art of a deal without even reading the book, The Art of a Deal. Yeah, you can pick up things in many different ways. So for me, politics, I'm not looking at it from that standpoint. It's all nonsense. It's all WWE. It's all, we seen Hakeem Jeffries and that other guy arguing in front of the cameras and both looking like complete idiots. You can't tell who's the fool from that distance. However, Mrs. Katie Porter, where'd Katie go? Hold on real quick. Let me find her. I'm doing some stuff in the background real quick. So Mrs. Katie Porter, right? Hold on. I'm going to find her real quick. I don't got my Katie Porter up. Let's see. No, I got it somewhere. Is this it? Yeah, I got it right here. It was hiding on me. We'll just drag it over. Let's just do it like this. Let's drag it over right here. All right, let's pull this up. We talked about the single mother thing. I want to lead into it from that standpoint. Let's lead into it from that standpoint. And you see right here, I got a very distinguished picture of Katie Porter because, again, I said that I am not biased towards either one of these people. I'm just putting it out there. I'm speaking from my own opinion. I'm not speaking as a Republican or a Democrat. Some people might literally hate that because a lot of people just want to hear comfort bias. I just made that up. It sounds like it works. You want to be comforted on your side and you want to be having me hate the other side. Well, I'm just going to lay it out how I see it, and then we'll go from there because I don't group think. And over here, us as a family, we think for ourselves. So let's get into it. I'll just go in a first couple paragraphs of this. And if you want to read this article, this is the LA Times of California, a very, very big syndicate that does the news. So we're going to understand what's going on here. And she happens to be a single mother. Now, I just want to look at like the first sentence of this because this goes on for a long time. All right. This goes on for a long time. It shows a Katie Porter right here in the grocery store trying to figure it out. It shows her trying to figure it out right here. Crunching numbers on her. Hold on. What was her salary? I got her salary right here. I'm going to give y'all her salary real quick. Her salary from, she unchanged since 2009, she's making $174,000 per year. And she's trying to figure it out. She makes in the top probably 2% of the entire United States of America annually. But here she is trying to figure it out. Just a normal person, Katie. It's a normal person. No better than you or I. No better than you or I, Katie. But she does have something that's very common with the people. And we seen the lady earlier, the single mom, struggling with her kids, ages of 21, taking care of her younger kids possibly. One busy morning last summer, Rep. Katie Porter timed her flight back to Washington with one to Oregon so her 3 kids could visit their father, whom they had not seen in months. Yep. As she shepherded her children through the metal detector at the Santa Ana's Johns Wayne Airport, peeling off jackets and separating iPads. Her kids got iPads. At a woman in line at the a woman in line at the checkpoint asked to take a photo together. One of her supporters really, really likes her, really appreciates her, probably has a photo of her up on the wall, idolizes her, reads all her songs, watches all her books, and but Porter politely declined. We're gonna see a little bit if she's actually polite. We're gonna see a little bit if she's actually polite when we get into some of the things that she said. Now, she continues to go on and say, after surviving the airport gauntlet, Porter was buying her kids snacks for the flight, when the same woman found her and asked again. Quote from Porter: I am sick of people trying to take their photo with me. Katie, they trying to take a photo with me, Katie Porter. Huh? An exhausted Porter recounted. Single mom. Kids see their father, every several months. Could let him probably stay with the father. Nah. We're going to transport them all through the airport and get upset when we have people try to talk to us. Later, while speed walking through the halls, dragging her kids, get your ass over here. You slow brat. I'm just doing it for effect. Can I have some fun? All right. Later, while speed walking through the halls of the U.S. Capitol's Cannon building, late for a committee meeting, bro. She just walked in fashionably late. Late for a committee meeting. She was late. Yep, she takes her job very serious. She cares about the people. The fan had caught Porter at the confluence of her dueling lives as a single mother to the 3 and a social media superstar Senate candidate. Yeah, she is. Gavin Newsom, he will be relieved of his duties in 2026. And now we're going to have a new governor for California. And Mrs. Porter is the front runner. Yeah. No BS by Porter. And then we can continue to go on. Porter's 3 kids sat in the foreground of her campaign against fellow Democratic Rep. Barbara Lee of Oakland and Adams B. Burbank, as well as a couple other people. And she can be seen here with her lovely children that get to see their father every several months.
Just because I don't care doesn't mean I don't understand.
Yep. The bumbling father.
Don't!
Shouldn't be there involved in his kids' lives. Nope, not at all. Just a couple of months. And she continues to tout herself as a single parent. And we'll go one more quote for her before we move on. What I've never been able to pull apart is how much of what's hard about my life, because I'm in Congress, I'm in competitive races, and how much of my life is hard because I'm a single parent. Porter told the Times, 50 years old Porter. Those things are absolutely wedded together in a way that I can always tell, which is, now I'm just going to say this. The father is more than willing to see the kids. Now, we don't know all the details because I'm pretty sure if Miss Porter had a big issue with the father and the father did not want to see his kids, well, he just wouldn't see him, because every several months, it seems like he's fiending to see his kids after all this time. It seems like he's fiending to do it. However, Miss Porter is not trying to go that route. She'd rather drag him across the country, have him running late to meetings, stressed out, trying to figure it out, when she could go ahead and do all the things that she wants to do and let the kids have a stable life in Oregon with the father. But she said no. She said no. So those are the decisions that she is choosing to make, right? Assuming that the information that's given, because I'm pretty sure if the father was a degenerate, drug addict, loser, junkie, then she would absolutely say that and make it known that it's not even an option for them to see him at all, and she's forced into this life. Similar to what the lady could have done in the EBT situation. But there we go. Now, I want to go into more of Mrs. Katie because I just want to understand a little bit more about her before we come to any type of conclusion or opinion. So we'll just look here and see what she's got to say. Where's this? Is this Pierce Morgan? I think we got Pierce coming up. All right. Let's hear what she's got to say.
President Biden has said that inflation is the number one priority for the Biden White House to try to get under control right now. As you're out there in California talking to constituents during this re-election year for Congress, how does inflation compare to this newly important, in the sense of the Supreme Court decision pending, abortion issue? How do those two issues compare?
Well, I don't think they compare. I think they actually reinforce each other. So the fact that things like inflation can happen and it can become more expensive to feed your kids and to fuel your car is exactly why people need to be able to be in charge of how many mouths they're going to have to feed. So I think the fact that we're seeing this jump in expenses, that we're seeing people having to pay more in the grocery store, pay more at the pump, pay more for housing, is a reason that people are saying, I need to be able to make my own decisions about when and if to start a family. So I don't think we're going to see them. I don't think it's like about comparing them or contrasting them. I think they reinforce for people just how big of a responsibility it is.
What do you mean?
I want to ask you a bunch of questions, and I want to have them answered immediately.
All right, Miss Porter. So inflation doesn't matter, right? She says inflation doesn't matter. Now, my thing is this, right? My thing is this. She compares the two as if one is separate from the other, right? Now, I don't want to get into the whole, termination of child abortion situation and all that. I don't really think that matters. I think that's more of a personal thing, but inflation absolutely does matter. So when she says that things just go up and it doesn't even matter, well, that can become a problem because that affects what? The normal American. It absolutely affects us. Yeah, okay, that's cool. It absolutely affects us. So, when she talks about this, and I just want to go into one point, where does she make that point?
Re-election year for Congress. How does inflation compare to this newly important, in the sense of the Supreme Court decision pending, abortion issue? How do those two issues compare?
Well, I don't think they compare. I think they actually reinforce each other. So the fact that things like inflation can happen and it can become more expensive to feed your kids and to fuel your car is exactly why people need to be able to be in charge of how many mouths they're going to have to feed.
But here's the thing, though, right? People need to be in charge of how many mouths they have to feed. Now, let's just break it down from this standpoint. If you do whatever the government tells you to do, what you're forced to do, which is pay taxes, however much they say you need to pay, and inflation comes along with the decisions that the government makes, how does it end up as the family's responsibility to just have to deal with inflation and deal with rising costs when they're not the ones that caused it? Normal families don't cause inflations. Normal Americans that just go to work every day. You got your job at Target, you're at McDonald's, and now they accept EBT over there, so McDonald's is making a whole bunch more money. McDonald's getting the EBT money now. But we just work normal jobs, get the money siphoned. The government is the one that does all the spending for us. They negotiate with other countries, deals, trade, tariffs. We got a lot going on with tariffs right now. And gas prices, negotiations. Don't none of us, the only thing that we do that we have to take accountability for is who we vote for. We do go to the polls and put our vote in for these people. So I'm not abstaining us from any of this. And I will say this, your local election is very important. So I think it's more important than the presidential election. As you can see, we're in a shutdown because even though that the Republicans have the, House, Senate, and obviously the presidency, they're still not able to do everything they want because they need help from the Democrats, which is the reason that all these people are radical. They can't even come together. There's nothing bipartisan about most of these people. So with that, it really puts into perspective that when you have a politician, right? And I'm just looking at her from a human being standpoint because that's where she's trying to break it down to. And that's how she speaks about herself. I'm just a single mom just trying to make it out here like everyone else with my 174,000. And also her net worth is currently somewhere between the $1 million to $2 million range. All right. That it just doesn't make sense. Now, I want to continue to go on, right? Because we talked about this. We're going to look at this right here and see what we got going on. Let's check her out.
Should be
What do you disagree with out of interest?
We should be able to have a civil debate. Nobody, including Riley Gaines, who I disagree with strongly, should be
What do you disagree with out of interest?
I think that it should be up to sporting bodies to make the decisions about who and
What
how
has she
should
said
compete.
that's actually wrong?
I think that what she has done is try to turn this. We talked about people, using things to kind of get likes and get clicks.
That's not what she's doing.
It's not?
I've got no.
And she does a lot of double talk, but I'm not actually going to take shots at her for that because I think all politicians do double talk and they don't answer the question directly with a yes or a no. It's never going to happen from any of them. I can't tell you one single politician that answers a question with yes or no. Not one. If you can find that clip, send it to me.
No truck for Riley Gaines personally, but all I've seen her do is stand up for women's rights to fairness and equality.
But she has
She actually competed against Leah Thomas, and it was obviously unfair. Leah Thomas won one of the races in the NCAA championships by 50 seconds against a bunch of...
So she's talking about women in, and we don't got to go through this whole clip. She's talking about women in men's sports, right? So just giving her stance on that and the equality that should be there. So Riley Gaines basically is an advocate against men being able to compete in women's sports. She was annihilated by a biological man in swimming, right? That transitioned into be a woman, but still basically is a man. I don't know. It's all confusing, right? It's very confusing.
Judge my physical and mental, my physical as well as my mental fitness.
I just know me as an athlete, me personally as an athlete that continues to compete athletically at all times and that officiates sports in all levels, men's and women's alike, as well as girls and boys. I'll just say that there's a big difference after, I'd say about the age of 13 within the boys and the girls. Before that, I think they're actually somewhat equal for the most part. But then somewhere after like 13, I think it begins to change and, the boys become a lot more athletic and strong and all that. But I've always said this, volleyball is a women's sport. I think women are the best in volleyball. And I think, well, I don't know, that velocity is something else. I think, yeah, it's tough. I don't know. I don't really got an argument for that.
Biological.
I think volleyball is a women's sport, though. I believe that. The men can be mad at me. I think volleyball is a women's sport.
females who simply couldn't keep up. That cannot be right. It cannot be fair.
That is something that I think our sporting bodies should be dealing with. And by the way, Riley,
but you're the leader. Like, you're the one that can advocate for these things. So now you're just basically putting the blame off someone else and you're not taking a stance. But when you put yourself in these positions, you have to take a stand. Like, that's what you're here for. You're here to make the tough decisions. That's why you're in a leadership role. And when you can't simply just answer a question and make it very, very easy for the American people to understand, we begin to think that you're disingenuous. Now, we can continue to go on with this, but it is what it is. We're just breaking down some different things that she said. I want to go into a couple more. Now, we're not going to get into this one yet, but this is going to be a lead up into what's going on with the main video that started all of this. I think I got some more. No, we don't want to do that. Forgive me for looking at. Okay, yeah, we're going to come to this one last. I think I got one more before that, though. Let me see. What did I have pulled up? Oh, yeah. Okay, we can look at this. So, toxic workplace allegations. Let's just read over this real quick. In 2023, Politico reported a criticism that Porter was allegedly a terrible. What does that mean? According to some accounts, abusive, racist.
You're racist.
I don't think I've seen her do anything racist, though, but I haven't, I don't know everything. Anyways, the accusations include allegations that she used racist language and ridiculed people for reporting sexual harassment. Okay, I don't know. The Washington Post interviewed 8 former employees on condition of anonymity. I got to get myself, y'all.
Judge my physical and mental my physical as well as my mental fitness.
Anonymity about their experiences working for Porter. I know y'all love it when I read to you. I know you love it. You can just sit down, drink your hot cocoa, and have me read to you. It's very comfy. The staffers described her as domineering and recounted multiple examples of her mistreatment of staffers, including instances where she berated staffers until they cried. This could all just be lies. I need to see proof. In response to the allegations that she created a toxic workplace, Porter defended herself on The View in April 2023 by comparing herself to a woman of color who are... She did it. I didn't do it. She did it. She did it. She compared herself, the woman that makes $174,000. Now, I will say this. There might be a little bit of a comparison here. Huh?
Times. Oh, Jesus.
There might be a little bit. This is maybe what she's comparing herself to, possibly. Maybe. Just a woman on EBT. Just a normal human being. Just buying Cheez-Its with taxpayer buying Cheez-Its and Gushers. This might be what she's comparing herself to. So we'll give her a little grace. She is the same as a woman of color, Mrs. Porter. All right. So she did that. Okay. Now, I'm not believing none of these allegations. I don't believe it. Mrs. Porter, I believe that you are a lovely woman, okay? I believe you're a lovely woman, Mrs. Porter. What they're saying right here, that there's instances where you berated staffers until they cried, and that you created a toxic workplace, and that you are compared to a woman of color?
You're racist.
No. Me, DotSale, I do not believe it. And you got to understand how I felt when I seen this video. You got to understand how I felt. I didn't believe it. I'm not. No way. This is not true. It's not true. No, Mrs. Porter, it's not true. Say it ain't so. Say it ain't so, Mrs. Porter. No, say it ain't so. It ain't so. Hold on, I gotta. This is not you. Sorry, I gotta get the slide up. I just lost the slide. Hold on, where's the slide at? Oh, we got it. Get it right.
In order to win, man.
Well, unless you think you're going to get 60% of the vote. You think you'll get 60%. Everybody who did not vote for Trump will vote for you. That's what.
Actually, no, you know. Hold on, real quick. Actually, no. You're gonna do this one. We're gonna do this one first. I don't want to believe any of this. So this is a precursor. Actually, this happened more recently, but we're gonna go into when she actually got into it with her staffer. But I just want to look at this first. We're gonna let this one play through.
40% of California voters who you'll need in order to win, who voted for Trump.
How would I need them in order to win, man?
Well, unless you think you're going to get 60% of the vote. You think you'll get 60%. Everybody who did not vote for Trump will vote for you. That's what you're thinking.
In a general election, yes. If it is me versus a Republican, I think that I will win the people who did not vote for Trump.
What if it's you versus another Democrat?
I don't intend that to be the case.
So how do you not intend that to be the case? Are you going to ask them not to run?
No, I'm saying I'm going to build the support. I have the support already in terms of name recognition. Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to do the very best I can to make sure that we get through this primary in a really strong position. But let me be clear with you. I represented Orange County. I represented a purple area. Mm-hmm. I have stood on my own 2 feet and won Republican votes before. That's not something every candidate in this race can say. If you're from a deep blue area, if you're from LA or you're from Oakland, you don't have an experience.
But you just said you don't need those Trump voters.
Well, you asked me if I needed them to win.
So you don't.
I feel like this is unnecessarily argumentative. What is your question?
The question is the same thing I asked everybody, that this is being called the empowering voters to stop Trump's power grab. Every other candidate has answered this question. This is not
argumentative. And I said I support it.
So, and the question is, what do you say to the 40% of voters who voted for Trump?
Oh, I'm happy to say that. It's the do you need them to win part that I don't understand. I'm happy to answer the question as you have it written, and I'll answer it.
And we've also asked the other candidates, do you think you need any of those 40% of California voters to win? And you're saying, no, you don't.
No, I'm saying I'm going to try to win every vote I can. And what I'm saying to you is that...
Well, to those voters, okay, so you...
I don't want to keep doing this. I'm going to call it. Okay. Thank you.
You're not going to do the interview with us?
Nope, not like this. I'm not. Not with 7 follow-ups to every single question you ask.
Every other candidate has answered.
I don't care. I don't care. I want to have a pleasant, positive conversation in which you ask me about every issue on this list. And if every question you're going to make up a follow-up question, then we're never going to get there.
Ms.
And
Porter,
we're just going to circle around.
I am an investigative
I have never
reporter.
had to do this before, ever.
You've never had to have a conversation with
to end
a
an
reporter?
interview.
Okay, but every other candidate has done this.
What part of I'm me? I'm running for governor because I'm a leader. So I am going to make...
So you're not going to answer questions from reporters? Okay, why don't we go through? I will continue to ask follow-up questions because that's my job as a journalist, but I will go through and ask these, and if you don't want to answer, you don't want to answer. So nearly every legislative...
I don't want to have an unhappy experience with you, and I don't want this all on camera.
I don't want to have an unhappy experience with you either. I would love to continue to ask these questions so that we can show our viewers what every candidate feels about every one of these issues that they care about.
And I want to shout out CBS News for putting this out because I'm pretty sure this wasn't live. It was pre-recorded. So they absolutely did not have to put this out. They ain't have to put it out, but I didn't want to move that. But it looks like somebody in her own camp. Looks like somebody in her own camp has some issues with Mrs. Porter because this was leaked shortly thereafter. See it right here. We can start it from here. Actually, we'll get the whole thing.
You ready for stat number 2?
I am.
All right. $632, which is how much you save in fuel and maintenance costs when you replace your traditional car with an EV, with an electric vehicle. So I lease a Chevy Bolt. It is the best car that I have ever owned. I just plug it into the garage, 3-hole prong plug, and I never have to go to the gas station.
That's awesome. And $632 is real money. And I know here at UCI, we have a National Fuel Center Research Center, and they're also doing work on how to make electric vehicles affordable, including for low and moderate income people, working moms, single moms like me, people who really could benefit from an extra $632 in their pocket. And it's also not just the individual savings, but it's also the total savings for our economy. So I'm on the oversight committee, you might know, and that is where we did a study recently this fall in September. And what it showed is if we don't electrify our transportation sector, that we're going to lose more than 500,000 Californians dying prematurely to air pollution and other problems. And the state could lose. Get out of my fucking shot.
Damn.
It's not that it's electric vehicles. It's that if we don't make a commitment to the Paris Climate Accord.
Okay, it does. Okay, you also were in my shot before that. Stay out of my shot. Okay, I'm going to start again with electric vehicles saving us money.
Perfect.
Okay.
Wow.
Oh, the humanity!
Let's go to that one part again real quick. I went through this whole live stream. We've been on here for how long? We've been on here for? Almost an hour and a half. I ain't said one cuss word. She couldn't get through 1:45 without cussing out her own staffers. Now, again, I'm a little bit sad right now because I did not believe the rumors to be true. The toxic work environments, the being mean to people that are just asking for a picture in the airport, everything that we've talked about leading into this. I did not want it to be true, but now we have it here in, I wouldn't call it 4K, but about 1080p. Her destroying her staffer for trying to correct her and make her not look like a fool.
Judge my physical and mental, my physical as well as my mental fitness.
On camera. Let's check it out one more time.
Not just the individual savings, but it's also the total savings for our economy. So I'm on the oversight committee, you might know, and that is where we did a study recently this fall in September. And what it showed is if we don't electrify our transportation sector, that we're going to lose more than 500,000 Californians dying prematurely to air pollution and other problems. And the state could lose. Get out of my fucking shot.
I wanted to tell you that that's actually incorrect. It's not that it's electric vehicles. It's that if we don't make a commitment to the Paris Climate Accord.
Okay, it does. Okay, you also were in my shot before that. Stay out of my shot. Okay.
No accountability?
Got a little attitude there. Is that it? Or are you just so old and ugly that you can't hear anymore?
It's all about her. It's all about Katie. From her kids. Can't see the father. Now, she actually said this, and this was one of the other points I want to talk, because we look at things differently over here. We don't look at it, I'm not looking at this from a political standpoint. I don't really care who they elect over in California, because they're going to make their decisions as the people. But I'm looking at this more from just a human being standpoint, right? Now, she said this.
For low and moderate income people, working moms, single moms like me, people.
Let me just slide this in here real quick. Single moms like me, she says, just working people. Huh? How many regular working people got real estate estimated at 750,000? Personal residence. Pennsylvania guaranteed. Huh? And that's not just counting what she's worth an estimated $1.5 million. And that's in 2018. That's in 2018. So, you know, I don't know. I'm just kind of feeling like this is all a little bit misleading. We'll go into one last clip real quick. I'm going to one last clip. Let's just hear what she has to say as far as...
So on election night, I went to pick up my daughter from water polo practice, and she's 12, and she got in the car and she was crying. And I said, did someone punch you? Like, water polo is a rough sport. I was like, did someone hit you? Did the coach yell at you? What happened? And she said, Mom, Trump won. Trump's going to win. And what if I get raped and I need to have an abortion? This is from a 12-year-old, my 12-year-old daughter. And so it was really a reminder of how scary this time is for people, and how important it is for Democrats to have strategies, both at the state level and the federal level, to make sure that we can continue to protect people's rights. So on election night, I went to pick up my daughter from water polo practice, and she's 12, and she got in the car and she was crying. And I said, did someone punch you? Like, water polo is a rough sport. I was like, did someone hit you? Did the coach yell at you? What happened? And she said,
Is that it?
Mom, Trump won. Trump's going to win. And what if I get raped and I need to have an abortion?
I'm done. I can't do it anymore. I don't know what's going on at this point. I'm just giving the news. This is Miss Porter. I'm just doing the news. She's not in my state. She could end up being the president of the United States one day, possibly. I'm pretty sure after she wins governor of California, which she's on trend and pace to do, she'll be the governor of California. And listen, I might end up coming through Cali at some point, and she's going to be the governor. So I just want to say this. Mrs. Porter, if I come through your great state that you're going to be the governor of in 2026, please show me some grace and mercy. Please, please do not yell at me and tell me to get the out of your state. Please don't treat me like your staffers. I'll come through masked up. Actually, I won't. She doesn't like me. I'm cooked. I'm done. I don't think I can go to California now. If she wins, I can't go to California. If she wins, I am not allowed in California ever again. And all I did was just show what she said and just report. That's it. And now I'm done for. So what do y'all think about that? What do y'all think about that? Oh, my bad. I meant to acknowledge you, Lola. Yeah. But this is your words, not mine. Not my words. Not my words. But this is just what the people are saying.